Hi, Sarah.
Public Safety Emergency Management is canceled this evening.
Good evening, President Cooper. I'd like to call Transportation and Traffic Committee to a meeting at 7 o'clock. I believe the members of the committee here, Councilor Conti and Councilor Reynolds. Very quickly, I have two items I'd like to move forward this evening, if I may. From the docket of January 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the installation of a rectangular rapid flashing beacon, Wall Street at South Main Street Crosswalk.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. This was brought forward by Councilor Dolan. And Councilor Dolan, I don't know if you want to comment, but I believe Councilor Dolan here was concerned about the, with all the construction going on over there, that people would not have, in the increased traffic, that it was posing an unsafe situation. In particular, there was a constituent there who I believe is in a wheelchair, Councilor Dolan? Yes, please.
Yes. Sorry. No, she's not. She's disabled. And it was also because Wall Street has such a wide opening and it takes people a long time just to get across, period. And nobody really stops at the stop sign. Yeah. So that area is a very, very big issue. People just roll right through the crosswalk and people get into the train and everything. So that's why I felt it was really important in that area.
Thank you, Councilor Dolan. Councilor Conti, Councilor Reynolds, do you have any questions, concerns about that?
Councilor, I think Councilor Dolan's comments are appropriate. That's a very busy area, especially when the train unloads and loads. So even if we find later that this device doesn't seem to make a difference, it certainly has applications in other places, so I'll be supporting it.
Thank you. Councilor Reynolds, anything?
I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, thank you. Then I'd move to take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Also from the docket of January 21st, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the installation of a rectangular rapid flashing beacon south on South Main Street at the train station crosswalk.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. This item was also brought forward by Councilor Dolan, I believe, if I may, Councilor Dolan, for the same reasons.
Yes, exactly.
And I should.
That's more like, oh, I'm sorry.
I
I apologize.
Go ahead.
That's just another bad area coming around the corner. Again, when people are getting off the train, and then when you have somebody that has any type of disability that might take a little longer to get across the street, it can be difficult when people are coming around that corner. So hopefully the light will bring more attention to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dolan. I appreciate your concerns and thank you for bringing both these items forward. Councilor Conti, Councilor Reynolds, any other comments, questions?
No.
Okay, take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. That's all the business I have for this evening, but I think you'll be seeing some more coming out of the Traffic Study Commission and this committee in the near future, hopefully. I move to adjourn the meeting at 7:03. 7:04.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. That's it, President Cooper.
Thank you. Who's next? Zoning and land use is canceled for tonight.
License Committee, I'd like to call to order at 7:04, please. And I have 3 items this evening. First one from the docket of August 20th, 2020. I entertain a motion to approve the application for a Class 2 license from M&J Auto Sales, Inc., 650 Washington Street with 10 customer parking spaces and 49 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. So, you may or may not remember the public hearing, but this is where the old Greenlight Auto was. And I know that there's been issues at this location. So we don't want to hold the deeds of others against anybody that's new. So we'll definitely, hope the best and hope they do well. And, I'll be around as usual to check on them. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. From the docket of August 20th, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the amended license for a Class 3 license for Marcus Vitale DBA Greco's Auto, 83 Dickens Street, with 10 customer parking spaces and 31 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Again, public hearing, same day. This is just to add somebody to the application as a co-owner. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
All
No.
those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And the last one I have is from the docket of August 20th, 2020. I entertain a motion to approve the amended Class 2 license for Marcus Vitale DBA Greco's Auto, 83 Dickens Street, with 10 customer parking spaces and 31 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. And again, same, just adding somebody to a partner to the application. Any questions?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And that's all I have tonight for a license committee. I'd like to call for an adjournment at 7:07 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You're adjourned at 7:07. Thank you.
Welcome. I'd like to
Can
call
I-
the Public Works Committee meeting to
Kate,
order.
Before you do that, can we go to
Okay.
Council Conti?
Yes.
Council
you.
Conti has a guest here in the audience and
Thank
also
you.
has two on the Zoom. So, Richard, you're up next.
Thank you. I believe, let me get I have too many things open here and I'm looking at too many things, but yes, you can hear me. So I'd like to call the Capital Improvement City Development Committee to order at 7:07. Sitting on this committee are Councilor Dolan, Councilman Waterman, of course, all are invited to participate. I have two items to discuss this evening. And the first is a very complicated subject. So I've asked both Jack Jacoby and Jeremy Stull to join us this evening. But I want to share with you some imagery. So I'm going to try to do that now. And
Counselor, Jeremy has that picture and he could probably put it up on the screen by sharing his screen if you want him to do that. And
Jeremy, yeah, did you get the aerial view of the Pawtucket from Jack Jacoby that I sent him this morning?
Yeah,
There
can
it
you
is.
see it? Can you see it now?
I see it now. So this little island in the middle, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. Yes, there it is. Very good. That's the subject of this whole discussion. Now, this area that we're looking at right here is off of exit 30, Interstate 95, and it's closed. So Martha and I spent about an hour Saturday trying to find this location and went by it twice before we realized where it was. Right next to it is this big open empty construction site that is being developed, and it's not that far away from the Pawtucket Water Department station. And what we have is a complicated title issue where we are going to need to accept a release deed pursuant to section 1-12 of the ordinances of the city of Attleboro, and then complete the layout of Crown Street, which is where you can see that cursor right now between the tree and the island, by filing an acceptance plan with the municipal council pursuant to chapter 82 of the Massachusetts general laws, allowing the meets and bounds of Crown Street and subsequent recording the approved plans and related documents. And then thirdly, we need to discontinue Crown Street as a public way and subsequently record the approved plan. So we're going to have to sign Mylars when this whole thing is over. So the plans were developed. Now, I also had street views. At the top of this photograph that you're looking at is a 3-story brick building that used to be, or currently is, a manufacturing facility. And there's a large fence that runs along the perimeter of the property to protect it. And traffic can flow freely in the front of this building, up and down this street. So the area is open to the public. Our discontinuance of that Crown Street is a portion which the public does not need to use, and it doesn't go anywhere. It actually goes nowhere except around that little island. And so with that, I think that's enough of an orientation for you to follow up with Jeremy and Jack. And I'll turn over the floor to you, Jeremy.
Actually, could I take the floor?
All right, I'll turn over the floor to you, Jack.
Okay, and I'd just like to note that Courtney Wunschel, the water superintendent, is on with us as well. Just to orient you again a little bit on the site, with the whole bottom of that site is the former Cumberland Engineering, which was knocked down. David Burke owns that. And then you will hear at some point about the area, if I can point, that's up here. This is the Attleboro Associates piece that we're going to be talking about. And this is the Orphaned Triangle, and this is Crown Street. This is River Street. There's a bridge here. It's been closed for 20 years that comes up. This is Turner, and this is Ralco. And just to orient you. So what we have here is that a couple of years ago, this council passed a bond issue for $4.967 million to do a number of projects. It included the design work for the Luther Station rehab, the Luther Dam rehab, the dam at Blake's Pond, and also this particular project. Right now, we have design funds of $143,000 left and $1.2 million left for the construction of the proposed station and a $444,000 contingency. And as you may know, the bidding climate has been very good lately. Our projects have been coming in substantially under. So we would like to put this out to bid in January if we could. And in order to do that, we need to clear up the legal title so we can build it on the piece, because spending $1.2 million of the city's money to put a pumping station on land we don't own would not seem to be very appropriate. So what I'd like to do then is to just remind you that in water emergencies, a couple of years ago, if you remember, we drew Lake Miramichi down to almost nothing, and they got mad up there in Plainville. We are lucky enough in Attleboro that we have a lot of sources of water in the surrounding areas. Those who came before us were very good at getting the water rights in other communities, like in North Attleboro and Mansfield and Plainville. But even so, there are times when we have run short of water. There are other things that may occur where we would run short. So not only is there a drought, but our main water plant might fail. We could lose the finished water storage. We could have a dam fail. We could have a reservoir be contaminated or a reservoir fail. And so the thought of the water department and the administration has been that we should build some redundancy into our system. And in order to get that redundancy, the easiest way to do it is to have a connection to Pawtucket, which also has a lot of water and is willing to sell it to us. I also understand from Courtney, and she presented this to the Municipal Building Commission, is that the standards for water in Attleboro and Pawtucket are close, but not exactly the same. But with the addition of a few chemicals in this proposed pumping station, we can make it Attleboro water from Pawtucket water. Not that there's anything wrong with Pawtucket water, it's just that the states have slightly different standards for the water. So with that being said, the desired site is, and Jeremy, could you put up attachment 1A?
Yep, just give me a second. I have to share a different screen.
The desired site to put this is in the in this area where Crown Street is and the triangle is. And yeah, it's sideways, but that's okay. So what you can, beautiful.
Oh,
Upside down. There you go. So here comes Turner, turning around to Ralco. And here comes River. And here's the Orphan Triangle, and this is Crown Street. And Attleboro's water line comes in Turner. And Courtney tells me that Pawtucket has water line that comes up River, goes through Crown Street, up Ralco, and loops back into Rhode Island. So putting it right here where the two water lines are makes a whole lot of sense. And if we have a close-up, which is 1B, Jeremy, if you can share that one. Yeah, so you can see that the pumping station would be located right here, right in what may or may not be a public way called Crown Street. So we started researching the title to this, and it goes back to 1918. And the city council at that time, and that's in the attachment to the memo that I prepared, and had a great deal of help from a number of people writing, but this council actually laid out Crown Street as a public way on December 6th, 1918. And the vote, can't read it here, but it's highlighted. And what it says is that there's a plan to be found with the vote. Well, there is no plan to be found with the vote. It's just not there, and nothing was ever recorded. So Jeremy, if you can go to the next, to attachment 3. There we go. And if you can turn that, beautiful. This plan is on record. And this plan may be what everybody thought was the layout of Crown Street, because it shows Crown Street. It shows the Union Wadding Company owning the Orphan Triangle, Union Wadding owning over here. You'll note that the plan's dated November 20th, 1918, and it was recorded in January of 1919. And so, although we think that that's what was intended to be the layout of Crown Street, that's not good enough. So what we did was we then looked at all the deeds. And interestingly, all of the deeds from Union Wadding all the way to Attleboro Associates, in every one of them, they excluded so much of the land that has been taken by the city of Attleboro for the layout of Crown Street. So everybody thought there was a road, and there physically is something there, but again, that's not good enough. So what we did, and Barry Lacasse did this, is that he got Attleboro Associates to grant a deed. And Jeremy, if we can go to that. That's the exclusion, which doesn't really matter. If you can go a little bit further. And a little bit further. There we go. So we got a release deed. And the release deed gave all of their right, title, and interest to the city in, if you scroll one more page, Jeremy. A great job by Barry. He used the Sharpie and he made a circle around what they were releasing and put an arrow, and yes, there it is. And so the Orphan Triangle, etc., and he used the 1918 plan as his exhibit. So it was excellent. Attleboro Associates was a dissolved LLC, but the earlier attachments, which we don't have to go back to, basically they give the authority to the manager of an LLC to wind up its affairs after it's dissolved by deeding out property. So the deed is good in terms of that. So now we're here and we say, okay, we've excluded in all the deeds from Union Wadding into Attleboro Associates, we've excluded so much as was taken for Crown Street. So if nothing was taken for Crown Street, then that deed is good. But if something was taken for Crown Street, that deed is no good. So therefore, we decided that the best thing to do was to solve the problem by accepting the deed, because it's a deed for $1. So we have to, it's a gift to the city. So we need you to accept the deed. And then finish laying out Crown Street. And so what we have done is we have engaged Garofalo Associates as a subcontractor to CDM Smith. We have a meeting with them scheduled for Monday morning, and they are going to finalize the plan pursuant to Chapter 82 with a legal description so that we can ask you then to vote to lay out Crown Street, and we can record the layout of Crown Street. And then the next meeting after that, we're going to ask you to, we're going to file a plan with you to discontinue Crown Street as a public way, so that once you do that and we record that, then Crown Street is now available to put the pumping station on. So that is form over substance. It's what lawyers do. And that's the story. So I think that, you know, this is a good project. It's been in the works for a long time. If we can get this out to bid in January and start work in the spring. Courtney, what was our projected construction time? 18 months? If she's on.
Sorry, yes. The plant would be expected to be online and running the pilot spring of 2021. 22, sorry.
Spring of 2022, yes. Mm-hmm. So it would take about 18 months or so to construct it, and then we got to go through the whole process of, you know, getting it cleaned and certified and all the things you do, Courtney, to make sure that it's clean and potable water. Right. So therefore, that is what we want to do, and that's what we would like you to do as the council, is to accept the release deed for whatever it's worth, to lay out Crown Street and then discontinue Crown Street and get all of that done this fall, so that in January we can put this out to bid, and when the weather breaks in the spring, we can start construction.
Great.
Simple, huh? So, Counselor, is that what you wanted me to do?
Yes, that is exactly what I wanted you to do. So, Councilor Dolan, Councilor Wyman, do you have any questions about this project?
Well, I have a curious question for Courtney. Does Pawtucket also get a possible benefit down the line from this?
Well, it's pretty obvious they get some money.
They get some money. They do get some money when we use it. We don't have a guaranteed volume to use with them. One of the things that DEP has requested is that we quarterly exercise the system, make sure everything works so that it's operational in an emergency. And the other thing that we're going to do with it is once annually, when we exercise the pumping station, we're actually going to put it to the system and use it for part of our flushing program in South Attleboro. So Pawtucket will get some money from us. A part of the design as well, and it's not as likely, is to be able to, if we ever had to, reverse the flow, if they ever needed to be on the receiving end. It's not likely. The plant's bigger, the reservoir system's bigger. It's just a much, much larger system, but it is set up that way.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
Any questions from anyone else? Councilor Dolan. Councilor Delicio, sorry.
Thank you. This is great. And Jack, as always, I had a plethora of questions going in. Answered them all. It's good to see this project finally coming to fruition. Just the one question, it's just a piece of clarification. This is we're not going to be looking at a new appropriation, correct? This is part of a project that's already been voted upon by, I believe it was 2 councils ago. So this isn't going to be a project that we're looking for a new appropriation for the completion, correct?
Right, the funding was originally voted in late 2016.
What I thought.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this is-
I just wanted that clarification.
It was a bond issue, Counselor, that was just under $5 million. And the 1.7 or 8 that's left is what we're, and always was intended for this purpose, but that is what we were doing, is to use that remaining 1.7 or 8 million in the original $5 million bond.
I just felt it was prudent to drive that point home. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, so councilors, you have in front of you the memorandum that was circulated by Councilor Withers. I've taken the liberty of distilling that into a motion, which is in the document that you have in front of you. So from the docket of October 6, 2020, I entertain a motion to accept the Crown Street release deed from Attleboro Associates LLC pursuant to section 1-12 of the ordinances of the city of Attleboro.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Waterman. Councilor Dolan, are you comfortable?
I am.
Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The vote passes unanimously. The second item I have to bring before you this evening is regarding to the building inspector's computer capabilities. I met with him. Yes.
Councilor Conti, before you move on, I know it's an awkward situation, but we want to let Jack and Jeremy and Courtney go. Is that?
Yes. Yes. You want me to dismiss them? Formally dismiss them?
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're dismissed.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm not used to being a teacher. And thank you all for your participation. Obviously, that was very good. So from the docket of October 6, 2020, I entertain a motion to purchase 3 printers, 2 desktop scanners, and 7 upgraded computers sized out by the MIS director with a transfer of $12,900 from account 112410000-578380 Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account 124010000-585140 Protective Inspection Computer Equipment.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Waterman. So when I met with Bill, the building inspector, protective services director, we reviewed what has happened in his department in terms of technology demands. And everyone now submits their site plans and building permits electronically. And they're all PDF files. And those are put on 42-inch wide screens so that they can read them just like they were large sheets of paper. Well, the computers that they have, which were built for Windows 7, are not do not have the high enough processing power to be able to work those graphics that size and that intense. So he came to the conclusion that by replacing 3 printers to purchase 3 printers and replacing 7 computers and adding 2 scanners, they could forward the program that they're having of trying to digitize all of their old records, which they do at their desk while they're doing other work, the 2 clerks in the front. So by giving them each an individual desktop scanner capable of scanning the old records, that's very time consuming because everything has to be pulled apart, the staples have to be removed, etc. And there are easily 20 to 30 4-drawer metal file cabinets in there that still remain to be scanned. So there's a lot of work to do. And those of you that have been around a while remember with the former inspector and Xerox and the bill of goods that we were sold by them and that didn't fall through. We're still in that process of doing it. So everything coming in new is going in through a building permit digital program called Permitix, and it gets circulated through the departments for approval. And we're typically processing a building permit 1 week, which is very, very positive. But the goal is to eventually get all of the records from the building department digitized and accessible by computer. And the short strokes is to do that, we need new equipment. Any questions? Oh, yes, Councilor Delcio.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing this out. I think if you look at page 46 of the capital improvement plan, it's really the only thing other than the SUV that they're asking for. Just important to note that in the capital improvements, they were asking for 12,900. So, I mean, I'm sorry, they were asking for 13, not 12,9. So a little bit of savings there as well.
Thank you for bringing that up. I meant to mention that and I did not. It's nice to see something come off the capital improvement plan. So I think we're ready for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes unanimously, and that concludes the business that I have to bring before you this evening. I certainly look forward to your cheering faces on Zoom at the next appropriate time. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I declare the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee adjourned at 7:31. Thank you.
And reporting from the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee at 7:31. From the docket of October 6th, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Ben Quell, 25 Wall Street, Middleborough, Massachusetts, to fill an unexpired term of Director of Veterans Services. The term will expire in February 2022. Mr. Quell was offered employment with the City of Attleboro September 16th, 2020, under a temporary 90-day appointment in accordance with Section 3-3B of the Attleboro Home Rule Charter. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I had a very, very fine conversation on the phone with Ben last week. He is completing his last week in Hanover, where he's been the Director of Veteran Services for the past 2 years. And he's really looking forward to coming to Attleboro. He will arrive next Monday, and I have invited him to meet with us at that time so we can all get to know him and hopefully accept him as a board. And I wanted to just say a couple words about his past. He has an interesting resume. He was educated at Bridgewater State. He has a master's degree in public administration. I found it interesting that he served 4 years on the Middleborough Board of Selectmen from 2011 to 14. And he's been the Veteran Services Officer for the past 2 years, as I said, in Hanover. He was in the Army, deployed. He commanded a 10-man coalition military assistance training team, and they were responsible for training a newly formed Iraqi Army brigade. And he is the recipient of a Bronze Star for Valor. And there's quite a bit more, and you have copies of that, of his resume. Are there any questions or thoughts? Please, Sarah.
I would think that we would want to see him or come before us to meet him and have him speak before us before we take a vote on this. That would be my thoughts on that. President Cooper, would that seem in line with appropriateness?
Yes, if I may, Council Waterman.
Sure, you may.
It seems reasonable, since the individual hasn't even started with the city yet, that we would proceed that way, that we would let him come in for a period of time, a week or two, by the time we have our next committee meeting. And then we could give him an opportunity to introduce himself, quite frankly, to the community and to the council, right? So his face is going to be new to anybody that utilizes the services from that office. And it feels to me like they should get the opportunity to see him. He can join via Zoom, or he could come in person to the meeting on the 13th.
13th.
I think I'm guessing, but I think that's when the next committee meeting would be. And you would hold this until then, just because I think that it's important that he be formally introduced to the council, but also to the community that he will come to serve.
I agree with that entirely. Thank you. So I should withdraw my motion. Do I need a second to withdraw?
No, Peter needs,
I'm sorry.
so I don't know if anybody else has any additional comments, Council Waterman, but Peter would need, Council Blair would need to. It looks like he has some comments, but he would need to withdraw a second to withdraw the motion. So
I think I seconded it. I actually seconded it, so I withdraw my second.
Thank you.
If I may.
Yes, Councilor Blair.
I thank Sarah for bringing that out because I think it's important that we meet him before we vote on him also, Sarah. With his resume, it sounds fantastic, but just for protocol and for future times, an appointment should come before the council before a vote is taken. So he's got a 90-day temporary appointment, so.
Yes, he does.
I'm in the works. So. Sarah, you gonna?
I already rescinded my second.
Okay, and so that concludes the business of the Personnel and Veterans and Human Services Committee. I would move to adjourn the committee at 7:37.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. And we'll meet again on the 13th. Thank you.
I'd like to call the Public Works Committee to order at 7:37. I have a few items this evening to discuss with all of you. From the docket of October 6, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the transfer of $601.71 from account 11241-000-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 14201-000-578020 Public Works previous year's bill to pay a fiscal year 20 invoice to Dejana Trucking Company.
Second.
Thank you very much. Well, this is a previous year bill that we did not receive until late, mainly because the parts that were ordered from a company under a different name, and they merged and have a whole new trucking company name. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. From the docket of October 6, 2020, I entertain a motion to authorize payment of a fiscal year 20 invoice to Amazon Business in the amount of $31.99. A vote authorizing payment is needed to satisfy this debt. No transfer is needed.
Second.
Thank you. Speaks for itself. Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. From the docket of October 6, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the transfer of $4,147.50 from account 1124-1000-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1650-1000-521010 Park Heating to replenish funds used to repair and replace the irrigation well pump at Capron Park.
Second.
Thank you. So they had to replace the pump immediately when it had broken. So he just, Superintendent Horsey just used funds from this account. And so he just needs to replenish it. Any comments or questions? That was in August when we were at break. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. From the docket of September 22nd, 2020, I entertain a motion to transfer $91.34 from account 6100-578300 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 6100-578020 Water Enterprise Fund bills from previous years.
Second.
Thank you. Another bill that just got overlooked. Any comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion approved. Okay, so I did want to discuss with you all a couple of things. I'm going to be calling for a site visit. I'm going to ask Virginia or Steve to please post it. A site visit to the water department on Saturday, October 24th at 9 a.m. so that we can have a good look at their vehicles like we did once at DPW. Because you know how we had discussed trucks that they had requested and went back and forth. So before that request comes in again, let's go see what these vehicles look like ourselves, like we did with DPW. I think that was well worth a visit. I know with this whole COVID thing, some people might not be comfortable with going to the garages, but they will have the bays opened up. And I'm going to try and figure out if, for those of you who can't come, if there's a way that we can film it somehow. I don't know. I'll discuss that later, but I am going to set that up for the 24th of October at 9 at the water department. Okay.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, we will be discussing, because it is that time of year, we're going to be discussing the winter parking ban coming up. I'm going to set up a time for Superintendent Tyler to attend my meeting so that we can discuss the parking ban itself. I have several items in my on my docket that have some people in the city have, concerns about and complained about because they prefer, they don't have enough room in their driveway for all their cars. So I think it's time for us to discuss it again. And I will let you know as soon as I know which date Superintendent Tyler will be joining us. Okay. With that, I would ask for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:42. Thank you very much.
And I'd like to call budget and appropriations to order at 7:42. I don't have any business to bring forward, but I do want to remind everyone that our city assessor, Julie Hobson, will be here on 10/13 to discuss the tax classification and what it's going to look like for fiscal 21. The public hearing will be on the 20th, but I just want to kind of give everyone a heads up that I feel this is probably going to be one of the more important tax classification sessions that we've seen in recent time, given everything that's going on. So Julie's great. I'm looking forward to her presentation, but that's all the business that I have for budget and appropriations, and would like to call for an adjournment at 7:43.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned. Thank you.
Laura?
Who's next?
Laura went.
Oh, Laura went. Okay.
Canceled, right?
Canceled. Okay. So I'd like to call to order City Property Aid Claims Committee at 7:43 p.m. And I have one matter to discuss from the docket. So from the docket of October 6, 2020, the mayor respectfully submits a communication from Superintendent of Schools, David Sawyer, regarding the donation of tangible items. I'll read those off at the end. From Burlington Store is listed on the attached correspondence from Hill Roberts Principal Frank Rich. In accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to accept this generous donation to the City of Attleboro. The items that had been donated are valued at $995. They are a Mad Matter sensory dough set with assorted colors, liquid floor tiles, cozy shades, 24 by 54 set of 4 blue pack, sensory blue ooze tube sets, weighted hoodie vest, navy, therapy, putty assorted colors, bouncy bands for chairs, Tangle Relax Therapy, sensory plush with pocket, and Albitations Calming Sensory Kit. It seems that for $9.95 to me that these are multiple items of each packet of things. So this is what has been submitted to us. And anyone have any questions, concerns regarding this? All those in favor?
Wait a minute, hold on. Who seconded, Sarah?
Yep, seconded. And I need it to be seconded.
Thank you.
A second?
Councilor Blair did.
Oh, he did. I can't hear him. I can't even see him. Okay. Do you have any comments on that, Counselor?
I
Peter
don't.
Blair. Council Blair, no, yes. Anyone else? Okay, that motion passes. That is all the business.
Just say all in favor, call for the vote.
Oh, God. This is terrible. All those in favor, didn't we just do that?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so that is all we have for business this evening, and I am going to call for an adjournment at 7:45.
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Kathleen, will you cancel ordinance, elections, and legislative matters?
Sure, President Cooper, I'd like to cancel the ordinances, elections, and legislative matters committee meeting this evening. Diana, Councilor Holmes is not present.
That's right. Thank you. Anyone else? Kathleen, were you going to talk to Richard?
May I?
Yeah.
Councilor Conti, did you want to briefly open the Rules Committee?
I can, because I have the instinctual indication that you want to discuss it. So I'd like to call the Rules and Committee to order at 7:48. We're in session. Councilor DeSimone, do you have something to add?
Thank you, Chair Conti. I just wanted to talk to you and Councilor Dolan about some of the work that's happened since we last met. I have redone the current draft, if you will. I put hard copies in your boxes, and I've also put together kind of some suggested next steps as to things that we had discussed briefly before. And if I may continue, those next steps would be that we ask the standing committees to review the descriptions of their committees as they currently stand and propose any changes. I would suggest, in due respect, that we consider entertaining new business to the mayor regarding the adoption of 940 CMR 29.10 that we briefly discussed at the last meeting. And lastly, in the meanwhile, while we await action on those issues, that we review and consider the current proposed changes. So we can continue work on the document, but we can get those two other things rolling if we're so inclined. So I suggest that respectfully.
So because I'm taking notes and trying to give Stephen a taking of what we do, the action items that we, would you please review the action items that the committee needs to take?
Yes, Mr. Conti, I respectfully suggest that we ask the chairs of all the standing committees to review the current descriptions of their committee duties in the present version, the current version of the rules of procedure, so that they can propose any changes that they see fit, and we can consider them for inclusion in the revised draft. I secondly respectfully propose that we consider introducing to the council new business relating to the adoption by the mayor of 940 CMR 2910 that we discuss. It allows for remote participation of council members on occasion. So that would become part of the rules going forward. And then I would propose that we meet sometime in the near future to go over the current changes of the rest of the rules. And I've listed those changes in a separate document that is in your boxes and will be sent electronically.
I have not had an opportunity to view that document, but I will. Would you like to set a meeting date and time now?
Yes, Chair Conti, whatever you see fit.
Well, we seem to like Thursday nights, and Thursday night would be October 1st. That's rather short notice. Council Dolan, let's see, we don't have 48 hours to advertise. So it'd have to be October, that would be the 8th. How does that sound to the two of you?
I'm fine with the 8th.
Okay. October 8th it will be at 7 o'clock on Zoom.
Mr. Conti, may I inquire, should I send out copies of the materials that I'm referring to other counselors, or only if they so request? How do I proceed?
I certainly see no harm in that. I have not had an opportunity to review the minutes of the last meeting. I wanted to get those in writing and get them to Steve, but I need to review that Zoom meeting. We covered so much material. And so I think, yes, let's please distribute the materials that you have to all counselors for their review. I will develop a new business to be proposed to the council for the mayor to discuss remote participation. And we'll meet again October 8th to review those documents. How's that sound?
Thank you, Mr. Conti.
Okay. Anything else, Councilor Dolan?
Nope.
Anyone else want to chime in on the exciting Rules and Procedures Committee?
Well, I just want to say thanks to Kathleen for doing that tedious work.
Yes, I know how tedious it is, Councilor. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
I declare the Rules and Procedures Committee adjourned at 7:50. Thank you.
Thank you, President Cooper.
Thank you. That is a wrap. I think everybody, thank you very much. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Good night, everybody.